You're confusing me.
Hit your gavel.
Well, I wasn't going to gavel because I'm not calling it to
I know, but
order.
it's going jam
All right,
time.
yes, okay. That was the big question was, do I use the gavel or not?
You always can use the gavel.
I
but-
think that any.
So I think we'll start the meeting off. We have a public hearing for first responder, for firefighters and EMT exemption, the first responder exemption. I'm going to have Mr. Nardone explain what the first responder exemption is.
Absolutely, thank you so much. So this is an exemption for volunteer firefighters and EMT workers. The school district passed this in May of 2022, and it allows certain exemption for those individuals, so they get a little bit of a tax deduction on their school taxes. When the law came out, it was county-based, so the law was 466 dash K. K was for Monroe County. I wish it was M to make it simpler, but that's just how they did it. So now what they did is by December, school districts have to change their section from 466K to 466A because they're getting rid of the per county. They're rolling everything up into the A, where all counties are going to be covered under the same exemption. So this is not providing an additional exemption. This is not making any changes to the exemption, neither increasing or decreasing it. And this is something we have to do by law. If we don't approve this by December 9th, then the exemption goes away. So this is something that I've known about now for probably a couple months. I just wanted to get this on this agenda to make sure it was taken care of. And with the approval of it, we will go forward.
So, Sarah, have we had anyone sign up for public comments? So, public hearing is now closed on the first responder exemption.
And I was just going to comment, if anyone's watching at home, it is part of the agenda lower down in the public content. So if you're looking for what it looks like, it is right there. I'm going to call our meeting to order. It is 7:07, and I need a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting.
So moved. Second.
Lisa, Mary Caitlin, all in favor? Aye, 6-0. And we have public comments first, and I don't think anyone showed up. Nope, okay, so we're gonna move on. And Nora, you are up first.
Okay, so this month, Mallory and I went to Jefferson Avenue to talk. We talked with 2nd through 5th graders. And one thing we focused on a lot with them was composting because this year they got composting bins placed in the cafeteria. And so we asked them, first off, if they understand how to use them and like the significance behind it. And how they feel about them, and the feedback was really positive, and they explained that they all understood it and could explain it to me and Mallory, but they also said that there's signs on how to use it. They told us that the milk cartons are tricky because they're covered in plastic, so they actually can't go in compost. They were like actually very well informed on it, even the 2nd graders. And overall, that was just really good. And the kids like seemed to like it. We also asked them a lot about clubs and like different activities going on, so like the fall crawl and the fall family night that they had last month. For the fall crawl, the elementary schools have raised $7,300 for Golisano Children's Hospital. So that was really great, and the kids we told them that at the meeting. That was the first time hearing that number, so they were very excited. And in the last 10 years, just another stat, they've raised over $100,000 for Golisano Children's Hospital. Yeah. And that's just been in the last 10 years. So it's really made a big difference. In the fall family night, the kids all really loved, and they expressed a lot that they love their like different holiday celebration fun nights. They also spoke very highly of all of the clubs there. Pickleball club got a lot of love in every grade, as well as yes, my brother's in pickleball club actually too. They did have actually really good ideas for some clubs that they don't have though too. They mentioned having a book club or like an enrichment club. They actually requested that. They also requested sort of like a music club for the kids that are too young to participate in orchestra and band, because that's for 4th grade and then band is 5th grade. And like a games club or a Lego club. And another thing that multiple students brought up actually was that they wish they could swim in school. And so, yeah, I just figured I'd throw that out there. And I explained that we swim in high school, and when you get older, you actually swim. But they actually expressed that they would very much like to do that. We talked to them about the free breakfast and lunch, and when we went to Martha Brown the month before, that was causing a lot of issues with like just the long lunch lines. But Martha Brown was also the first school we went to. We went in October, so it was sort of like the beginning of it. And even just like in a month, like the JA students said that maybe in the beginning there was a little bit of like long lines, but that it's great now, and they really didn't have any issues. They really love free breakfast and lunch. They talked about that for a while. Another thing, we asked them about the new renovations. We brought really big photos of like what the cafeteria could look like and stuff, and they were very excited. And we asked them a little bit about the time change, and none of them, I thought some of them would. The girl I used to babysit after school was actually one of the girls we interviewed, and so I wondered if some kids, like maybe in a similar situation, would bring up like childcare and how like their nannies have been like high schoolers in the past. But none of them really thought about that probably. They just told us that they were very excited to have more time after school for sports and activities, and that like in the winter and stuff, that if they get out earlier, they'll have more sunlight to play outside. And same thing, like in June, they can go swimming after school. So they were very excited about hearing they'll get out of school earlier, even though we explained their school day is still the same amount of time. I don't know if they heard that part. And then just another thing that was brought up a lot, so I figured I'd include it, is they all told us that they have a lot of like positive behavior reinforcement. Like one of the big ones is like eating lunch with Mr. Charno and Miss Busby, and they like really love that. But they also do like Jaguars of the Month, and they have like little paws that they get handed to by teachers for like following expected behavior. And that was just something that like students in every grade brought up. So like even the 5th graders still like really look forward to that. And so that was just like nice to hear. We asked them what they would do if they were principal for a day, and they told us that they would get air pumps for the footballs and basketballs for recess. But it actually did seem to be like a bit of an issue, because they said that their footballs are foam footballs, and so a lot of them are like have chunks out of them. So they just requested maybe some new equipment, or even just a singular air pump for the basketballs. And they also said that they wished more in like the warmer months, but that there was more like shade outside, because at JA, if you've ever seen the playground, there's not really, it's just a very like big open field. So Mr. Charno said like a pavilion or something out there would be really great. But that was really their only like issues, and it seemed like everything was going very well. Mr. Charno was in the meetings with us too, and he was very helpful. That's sort of an overview of like what we talked about at JA. Overall, it was really fun. It was our first elementary school, and we didn't talk to kindergarten or 1st grade, but it was really fun and cute to hear them. Across the district, we've had successful plays at JA, Martha Brown, Northside, and the high school. And then this weekend is JP's fall musical. And those have gone great. I've heard a lot of people complimenting the high school play. Also, we just sort of wrapped up states and sectionals and everything for sports. So just a few like shout outs. Girls gymnastics and swimming and diving sent multiple girls to states. And they have their like state championships this weekend for swimming and diving. Girls volleyball won sectionals. Girls field hockey made it to states. Girls soccer won sectionals. Girls and boys cross country won sectionals. I'm pretty sure it was both teams. Boys soccer made it to state finals. And then also last week on Wednesday, it was signing day for all of our collegiate athletes, and we signed 10 athletes to play sports at the Division One or Division Two level, which was a lot more than last year. And I think it's been like a record number in the last few years, but I'm not sure how many years back. We also had the senior trip 2 weekends ago, November 6th, November 8th. We went to Boston. I was there. It was very fun. It was a little cold. It was our first weekend of like cold weather, but it was really fun. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So it was fun. Also, wrapping up the leadership, I know we spoke about the leadership trip. We just had the parent night presentations for leadership, where all of our groups that went to DC presented to our parents about everything we learned in DC. And that's obviously a big hit with the parents. But that sort of wraps up everything that we did in DC. And then also I just wanted to highlight the district food drive, and also I know NHS and Spanish National Honor Society and like French National Honor Society, they've also done food drives. And I know for NHS, that's our biggest sort of like society. They had 4 cars worths full of donations, and we brought them to the Parrington Food Shelf. And yeah, that was sort of an overview of everything we learned this month.
Can I ask you, what does leadership kind of pivot towards now? So you had your big presentations, you did DC.
Now we did current events the last like sort of week, and now we focus like specifically on leadership. So like we're learning like the 7 principles of leadership, and then we focus more on like how government and politics actually worked, because in the normal politics class, that's what we would sort of focus on the whole semester, and we sort of like skipped over it. So now we kind of have to backtrack, and like we met with Congress, but like now we're gonna learn who is Congress, even though you've already been in the buildings and everything. So it's kind of backwards, but yeah, you just kind of make up for what we jumped over to do the leadership trip in September.
Thanks, Nora. I feel like you're very far away over there. I know. Well, thank you. And I think my report will probably be a little shorter because you covered lots of the things I was going to talk about. So, yep, lots of amazing things. It's been an exciting few weeks in the district. It feels like it's been a long time since we've been together. But I was going to highlight some of the different things happening across the district. As Nora mentioned, many of our fall sports teams finished up, and we had lots of victories at sectionals, regionals, and state level. And just a congratulations to all our student athletes, coaches, and the support staff that have worked really hard and are dedicated to making sure that our students have a good experience. You also mentioned the plays that have been taking place. So our arts program is definitely in full swing. There's been plays, concerts, performances, and really showcasing our amazing students. I think there's a coffee hour this coming Friday.
December 5th is the coffee house.
Okay, there you go. So that's just another highlight of something that I don't know if everybody knows we do. Thanks for the date. I couldn't remember. Let's see here. So the board recently was able to go to the New York State Board Association conference. We were able to really attend a lot of conference sessions and learn from other folks across the state that are doing the same things that we are. I would say I think we found it affirming just, to hear what best practices were, and thinking that we are doing a lot of great work, but, there's things that we can always work on and learn from others about. I did want to highlight and thank Nate Reuter and Chrissy Wade. They actually submitted a proposal, and they were able to go and do a conference session for other folks from across the state as well. They did a great job. I think people really enjoyed what they were talking about. They talked on the topic of AI and how teachers are using it in our district effectively.
And so many people left that session saying that was the best session I've been to at this whole conference. So it was just, they went above and beyond to make Fairport proud. They were great.
Yeah, so just kudos to them. They did a great job. I was whispering to Brett that there's probably other things that our district could share information on. It's always nice to hear from people actually in the classroom doing the work. So thank you to them. We're entering the busy holiday season. Just remember that, we are still doing all the same work, making sure our schools are places that students are thriving academically, socially, and emotionally. We'll continue to stay connected with the community, to support our staff and uphold our standards, to make our district a great place to live and grow. I did want to just I know it's Thanksgiving very soon, so just thank you to all of our staff that contribute to the successes that our students have. Also, I did want to, on a personal note, just thank the school board. Everyone here works really, really hard. I have the opportunity to meet with other presidents from across our county, and I feel very honored that each of you are on our board and put so much time and effort into making sure that the students here get what they need. So thank you. And that is my report.
My turn, huh? Very nice. Well, at the risk of sounding redundant, I'm going to try to put a little numbers behind some of the great things that people were talking about here. But starting off, today is our school-related professional day, and that's pretty much our essential staff. We heard from our food service, we have paraprofessionals, transportation, nurses, custodians, cooks, and clerical staff, all the essential people that make our school community thrive. We're proud to work with them and serve with them as we go, as we will be in schools over the next few weeks. We look forward to acknowledging and celebrating the great accomplishments that they have, along with our amazing educators and certificated employees and administrators alike who impact kids every single day. As we continue to talk about student achievement in our bright spots, we're going to focus on some clubs here that we invest in Fairport.
List was accomplishing.
I literally I did
So
that.
you would have had to figure out how many numbers down your list.
Math Counts gives a variety of opportunities to problem solve. And some of these problems are based in academic work that they'll see in their math classes while in middle school, maybe even high school.
What we learn in our math classes can help us here too.
Yeah, it's both ways.
But it should actually say bus Rio. See how it says?
Definitely for me, the appeal was it's different. Like I've always been a very academic person, but never got into the hands-on part of it. So I think that's something that really attracted me to the team and something that keeps me loving it.
Here's this one. I know this one. Oh,
I kind of just like quizzes and quiz games like that, and that's kind of why I joined.
I think Academic Challenge Bowl teaches you more random facts and then a couple of facts from school, but they're spread out evenly in all different subjects.
We had a couple kids go, oh yeah, we talked about that question in class last year, I remember this, or I'm trying to remember and I know we talked about it. So it's kind of really good for them to recall things that they learned.
We do a lot that we learn in the tech classes at the high school that applies here. We learn CAD. If you're taking computer science or electronics or classes like that, you can apply some of that knowledge here.
I do have students who I have in class also come to Math Counts, and you see a different perseverance. They have a little more grit. Sometimes they have that ability to start thinking outside the box.
I divided 40 by 10, then multiplied that answer by 3, and then subtracted it from the total.
That's what I did. I broke.
Students get really excited when they can show their strategy for solving a problem, or when they get to work together, they can bounce ideas off of one another.
Keep going with that, Kira. I love what you're doing.
I need more room. Okay. 5x plus 5.
You get to meet new people and bond with them.
That's true. First initial, last.
I've worked with so many different people and I've just made so many good connections, and I think those connections have really helped me work with people and solve problems.
I've made such close friends on the team, and so just being able to work with these people has just been so amazing.
X at Y, the first one. I'm sorry. That means this is 4.
It's sharing knowledge and supporting each other. and it's a healthy competition.
In addition to that, I think we've had 2 years where we had individuals that scored high enough that they were also included in that state competition.
Well, last year we got an award for our team, the Team Spirit Award, and that was recognized based off of the work that the whole team does for outreach events.
We went to RIT and we ended up in the #1 alliance for that and ended up winning the competition and going to Houston.
You spend all this time, like the 15 hours plus a week, working on this robot, and then once you finally go to competition and like see it work, and you're like, oh my gosh, I helped make that. That's like such a fulfilling experience.
Students are thriving in extracurricular activities as a whole. Again, to put some numbers behind some of the great things that our Nora was speaking about and President Bells Pacer was speaking to, we have 141 extracurricular clubs in our schools, grades 3 through 8. 7 of the 8 schools, Dudley doesn't have extracurriculars because of their age group. 183 participants in the fall drama and musical productions at both the high school and the middle schools. 764 student athletes on 40 teams. That is the largest in Monroe County for just the fall sports, modified through varsity. 451 students on junior varsity and varsity teams. 5 teams won sectional titles, and multiple individual sectional titles were also achieved in multiple teams representing Fairport in the States. We're very proud of all of our students and how they achieve and perform. The investments in the extracurriculars, interscholastic sports, and the arts are admirable and appreciated and seen so many times throughout the school year. I would have to say, what's happening here? All right. Let's see. And it's just not about the athletic programs and the musical programs. It's the service. It's the contributing to a bigger cause. Nora was talking about the fall crawl, the amount of monies we've donated to the Children's Golisano Hospital. In the bottom right-hand corner, you see our boys soccer team, who annually does fundraising for childhood cancer. You see our students in the top right-hand corner celebrating our student athletes who are going off to state competitions. That just happened last week. And it was so moving last week during Veterans Day, when there were so many remembrances in all of our schools of taking a moment to say thank you to veterans. We had veterans come from our parents to grandparents to those who served our country and made great sacrifices so we can enjoy all the great things that we do here locally as well. And you'll see in the bottom left-hand side where we had performers go to the community center and perform, and we look forward to doing more of those performances so we can interact with our community in different ways. And of course, the plays that our board president and student board member were speaking about. I have to say, today in this very room there were 17 educators talking about AI, and there was one other school district that was here as they looked at platforms so they can continue to build their capacity, led by Nate Reuter and our other tech directors. It was great to see the energy. We had educators from multiple different disciplines in this room talking about how do we build upon a tool that's emerging. I mean, I don't know, do you ever hear of AI, Nora? Okay, so, but we are grateful, and we look forward to a wonderful holiday season, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Really like that little Raider.
You like that? You like the Raider pumpkin? I didn't think we can get it in there, but Lindsay made it happen, right? That's a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so up next we have our board member committee reports. And I know not every committee meets every month, but is anyone interested in sharing out if they did meet with a committee?
I'll go.
Oh, go for it.
Okay. I was just going to say that Eric and I went to the wellness committee meeting. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was
Earlier this month. The days are blending. I'm sorry. So this was our first meeting of the year. So it was exciting to get together and discuss what we're going to be doing this year. We talked about our yearly review of the code of conduct and things we're going to be looking at specifically in that. And we also heard a little bit from our food service people about some of the challenges this year with the free lunch program, but also the mega successes that they're having. So I'm looking forward to digging in a little bit more as we move on, but that was our first session.
You want me? We had audit and finance this past week, and I don't know if everybody gets excited about audits, but I do. And we talked about our internal risk control audit, clean report, no significant internal control weaknesses. So just beautiful words for audits. And then our control cycle audit, corrective plan. This is the one where the state lets us kind of pick your own adventure. You get to look into an area to kind of try and grow your system. And I have to give huge kudos to Superintendent Provenzano and his team for looking into life and long-term disability. Not a really exciting topic until you need it, but really going into our system and make sure all of our people are cared for and aligned with what we offer, and just make sure everybody's good on that. And then you'll see the reserve funding plan later on in the budget. Did I miss anything, Richard, Jan?
No, just echo the appreciation to Superintendent Provenzano, Assistant Superintendent Nardone for, you have some latitude to kind of choose what you're going to look at, and this is not a rubber stamp, like it was something to look, to hopefully lead to good processes and potential improvements, and it's like when you have to do something, it's nice to actually get something that benefits, you know, the district out of it. So.
All right, so legislative advocacy update. Before I get to that, a quick jumping off of everybody else's shout outs, shout out to the band and choir kids who will be performing at Allstate this weekend out at Churchville Chili this weekend. Very, very cool for them. So give them all a shout out. So advocacy and legislative update. I'm now officially our advocacy liaison through NISBA. I really think it just get a couple emails a month. I don't know really what it does, but hopefully it opens some more doors for us statewide and nationally, and happy to do it. Our Erica and I, were you at legislative? I don't even remember. But we met on November 4th, MCSB Legislative Committee, and we approved our 13 position papers for the year, including new ones on UPK and state building aid, which is stuff we really are interested in. Anyway, these are the papers that go to our reps in their offices before we meet with them. They are still awaiting formal approval from the MCSA exec board. That's going to come next month. And then once those out, I'll share them out and share them with Sarah so they can go out public too. Fun fact, I also got a list of the 281 federal and state mandates that we have to follow as a school district, and that's, I don't think is a complete list, but it's a great one to have.
Does it list whether or not they're funded ones?
No.
Oh, that would make it even more interesting.
No, because some are partially funded, some are underfunded, some are not funded, but anyway, that's just a fun note to have in our pocket. So
I think that someone on the legislative committee might be looking at sorting them out.
Yeah.
So that might actually happen.
Yeah. So that's just a fun thing to have. Erica was on a Zoom call with Congressman Morelli earlier in the month, and kind of related to that, the federal shutdown ended, which for really the biggest thing for schools is SNAP funding is being restored for a full year, which is going to be a real boost for Universal Meals in New York, because SNAP provides a lot of the back end funding for a lot of those programs. Also gives food to people who need food, which is a really good thing. There's a part of the advocacy liaison thing. We got a state budget mid-year update, and the state has more money, sort of. It's only projected to be a $4 billion deficit, not a $7 billion deficit. We'll take what we can get. It doesn't necessarily mean more money for us in schools. I actually started to read the state plan, but realized that's why we have Jeremy and his team to be in the weeds on it, and we just continue to advocate for what we need and some of the advocacy stuff we're doing coming up. Erica, Brett, and I are going to be meeting with Assemblymember Lunsford in December. Always a very productive call, always a great meeting. And MCSB has a Zoom advocacy session the same day with legislative aides for state reps across the county, and I think Erica and I are going to be part of the wall of support on that. So I think that's it from Advocacy Land.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that you're doing that, even if it sometimes means you have a 4-hour meeting. Oh, definitely. Does anyone else have any other report outs?
I can share from Information Exchange. We met, I believe, 2 weeks ago. Great session, very tough and sombering topic on lockdown drills and school shootings. We were presented by a woman named Jacqueline, and Brian, you probably know how to say her last name, Schildkraut. She is not only a professor at Oswego, but works with the Rockefeller Institute of Government. And she did one of the largest study in the nation to date in the Syracuse Central School District, examining the effects of lockdown drills. And what starting to realize is that it's actually, there's been a lot of talk about our lockdown drills causing trauma and stress to children. And really the research is starting to show that it actually does not. But a lot of the meeting focused that, the most, and I think we know this, that the most primary ways that school shootings are prevented are through See Something, Say Something. And it's all of us working together as a community. And the biggest way our mass shootings have been prevented is when someone with information about a person of concern, concerning warning behaviors comes forward, allowing that person of interest to receive the services and resources that they need. So I think that is our first mitigation strategy. But she talked that the benefits of lockdown drills, it is practice, it's preparedness and muscle memory. As like I said, there's growing evidence that actually lockdown drills do not increase anxiety. It's actually our children's exposure to violence in the environment is actually what's driving feelings of being unsafe, and the lockdown drills can temper that relationship. A lot of things that we already do here in Fairport, but she just shared that, the 4 important procedural steps. Locking doors. Nobody has ever been shot through a locked door, she shared. Turning out lights, remaining out of sight and quiet, and never responding to the door knocks once a lockdown is in effect. And those are the consistent proactive life strategy in a real life mass shooting. Not that we ever want to think about it, but we have to be proactive. So she also just went on and what we can do after the fact, really giving kids a chance to debrief and to talk. Adults, it's important to always provide time to listen and provide that space for kids to reflect and respond. And our data is our why, like showing our teachers, there's a lot of questions of, it's one more thing of our day to do a lockdown drill, but showing our teachers really our data on how we become more proficient and quicker and efficient with our lockdown drills as we practice them. But again, sobering topic, something we never ever want to think about, but the more proactive and preventative things we do for our children, the better, more safe we can keep them.
Thanks, Jan. Before we move on, I think it was mentioned by a couple of folks, just kind of what our district has been doing in terms of supporting folks. And I think Mr. Provenzano here has some specific numbers that I thought we might want to hear.
I think it's quite impressive, and it definitely speaks to our Fairport spirit and the leadership of Deb Miles. Many things come from her office, in addition to the safety and security pieces that you were talking about. We definitely have been doing an amazing job raising, gathering food boxes. Close to 100 boxes will be delivered by tomorrow. So we have a team going out there in the community and providing food items as we enter the holiday season. Plus, there's going to be about 45 bags of household items. Again, those are all donated to our community. Nora, you mentioned it, and I just thought it was just a great testament to the things that we do in Fairport with ideas, and people rally around each other. So thank you for leading that and managing it, along with Lindsay's communication campaign and the principals getting it out, and our students and community members rallying around. It's going to do a lot of great things in addition to the other things you were talking about. So thank you for allowing me to jump back in on that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think many of us probably saw posts, across social media for all different food drives and gathering of things. And I guess the other part is seeing pictures of the bare shelves in places and how quickly they were able to be filled. So I, recognize that people are needing the things that we're collecting. It is being used very quickly. I mean, I think about my family, how much my kids eat, right? Like that's a lot. So very, heartwarming that everybody is coming together to make sure that everyone has what they need. Okay. Mr. Nardone, are you ready for our treasure and investment update?
I am very ready for this. This is exciting stuff here. So this is the treasurer's report for the month of September. So we are back now starting to collect some cash flow. We have our beginning cash balance at $57.1 million. A lot of that is in reserves, which should not be used for operating cash. That's why we have the 4% that we're allowed to keep. We did have total receipts of just over $19 million. Some of that is some tax revenue that have been coming in. We get a lot of our tax revenue actually in the month of October, just because it's a little bit delayed from when the town collects. And the town being so big with a population, they have to collect on behalf of the school district for free. So we do get that money from the town. In addition, we saw some pilot revenue come in. Those pilot bills are usually due by the end of September, first couple weeks in October. So that's about half of it. You'll see the rest come in next month. Disbursements, just over $10 million in disbursements, nothing out of the ordinary there, for an ending cash balance of $65 million, 65.9. And then down at the bottom there, you can see how it's invested. Same thing, we started T-bills again this month because we have cash flow. We have money in those ISCs and CDARs, which is those sweep accounts that allows a little bit higher of an interest rate because there's no collateral. And then also some money market and CDs that have a little bit less of an interest rate, but it provides that cash flow so we can pay our bills on time. So with that, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're up to board discussion action items. And up first, one of our favorite topics, Consolidation Corner. And I think our topic for this this month is on the Fairport High School.
So the Consolidation Corner, many update, sort of executive summaries of the things that we've been focusing on. School start time, we focused on rep care at this evening's workshop. We met with different levels of administrators and union groups regarding staffing analysis and staffing timeline, which is currently underway, and we're moving through that. So people are very aware of what's happening relative to the consolidation and their employment and responsibilities here in Fairport next year. And the future use of Minerva Deland, Balmer Place, and District Office has been a conversation as we met with those people who will be moving to Minerva Deland and Balmer Place just last week. So ongoing conversation, but the priority is always our students, and we have a group here from the high school. Deb Miles, Stacy Miller, and Francine Newton are going to come and talk to you about, of course, the course selection as we bring in 8th graders, transitioning 9th graders, and Bob Clark is also here. So come forward, please.
Consolidation Corner theme music.
I do. Thanks. Okay, well, thank you. So we just have a handful of slides, and we'll just kind of share them accordingly, the departments that we oversee and so forth. But we did, in preparation for our 8th graders going up to Fairport High School, we did take, as we do every year anyway, we take a look at our course guide and we go through a development process with that. But obviously with the new lens on that, thinking about our 8th graders going to the high school as a 9 through 12 building. So early in September, Stacy worked with our lead teachers across our departments to take a look at, get individual feedback from the departments regarding the electives and course eligibility for each of the courses, so we could update our guide. Directors then in October followed up with department meetings to finalize these course offerings and eligibility, making sure that teachers had a voice, departments had a voice in terms of what we were offering and who was ready to take the courses and so forth. And then October 22nd was a great opportunity for us because we actually brought our middle school counselors, our 9th grade counselors, and Francine worked with us as well from a high school perspective. Brought everybody together with our directors, with Mr. Clark and so forth. Pardon?
The building admins.
And building admins, so that we could just go over course selection process, but also graduation requirements, and make sure that everybody was on the same page and refreshed with all of that information thinking not just moving an 8th grader to 9th grade, but more of a bigger picture sequence of moving our 8th graders up to high school and having a broader scope of what's to come. So that was a great meeting, and from there, our counselors walked away with a definitive plan of what our timeline would look like for the scheduling process. And from there, our course guide has been finalized for the 26-27 school year. So that is all ready to go, and it's been published and out, right?
It's starting to be
published. Okay. So coming to a household near you.
It's in the hands of the building.
Right. So, so we have some slides in here that are themes that we covered with them. Obviously, we're not going to drill down deep into these, but obviously just wanting to talk with them about the 3 different diploma types: local diploma, Regents diploma, and then of course the Regents diploma with the advanced distinction. This is obviously for now and next year, right? Looking into next year, we know that there are some changes to come, and that we will then tweak the work that we do with our counselors and our students. But for now, everything is status quo.
I do think, if I can just really quick,
Sure.
This is one of the benefits of consolidation. Having just gone through this now with a now 10th grader, is when we got this in 9th grade, it always felt a little awkward because like they're going in, and does this, when they're taking classes at Minerva, their high school courses, but it's just like an awkward disconnect. And now going from 8th grade into FHS, it just feels more natural and like, okay, everything. It was never nothing you guys did wrong in the communication. It was just kind of like awkward. But now this is much smoother, and I think it's one of those benefits of that, of the consolidation, to make for families to make that transition a little more seamless.
So I think one of the biggest benefits of that meeting was having the 8th grade counselors there with the high school counselors. You know, Francine, you know, having her purview over the entire process. I think they didn't have to have as much ownership prior to that because they were handing them off for that 1-year experience, as opposed to, you know, taking them on for 3 years and knowing like what those pathways are. So, you know, that's the work in front of Francine and her. She's a fantastic leader of this group, making sure that they're apprised of the changes and then, you know, all the options that our kids have. So I think it's like extending that ownership 1 layer down from where it was. Right?
And that goes into like thinking, to your point, and kind of a theme of the night, right? All of the opportunities for our kids. And so as we know, right now there's 3 diploma types. We know we're going to be moving towards 1 diploma type. Over the last few years, more opportunities have opened up as far as pathways and seals and increased CTE requirements or opportunities. So some of the things that we brought in the 8th grade team, the middle school team, again, like just because there's so many transitions, it's really important for them to help our students understand at that early age, like there are options, there's pathways, there's things that you can explore in our programming 9-12. And so here's just a few things that we reviewed. Not everybody knows, but on their diplomas, they can get seals and endorsements. So some of the seals that you could get are mastery in mathematics, mastery in science, and then you could get a seal, an honors diploma seal as well. In addition to that, we have recently added these 2 seals, and I know you guys have heard about the seal of biliteracy and the seal of civic readiness. So those are good, again, in the humanities and in the world language areas. So we've got math, science, world language, we've got humanities. So I think the goal, obviously, with the Board of Regents is to open up doorways for kids, show them that there's different pathways, and have them make those connections to not only just the content, but beyond the content. And I think these seals give those kids those opportunities. In addition, recently we just had to get our CTE courses reapproved. It's quite a process, my first time through that. But these are our 3 CTE programs that we offer for students, which we have increased the enrollment and also the opportunity by making them like a minimum of 3.5 credits. So we have a business and marketing endorsement, we have an architecture endorsement, and we have an engineering endorsement. So those are 3. I know that New York State was really hoping for people to jump on to at least 1. So we are offering currently 3, which is great. And then we also That is not every district has that. So if you go on the state website, we're one of a bunch, but not all. And so this is just a pathway for students to kind of explore either a digital arts kind of experience, 3D, 2D, or advanced art. So really proud of these offerings, but all embedded, and we helped our teams kind of understand that 9-12 experience and how kids could choose kind of their own adventure.
Can I ask a silly question? And I should know the answer to this, but with the endorsements and the seals, does the counseling office automatically like submit the students that qualify for those?
What's the process for that?
Yeah, what's the process? So like, when you're looking at, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the students don't have to do anything.
Oh, for the
They-
by literacy they do.
CTE, we track CTE within school tool and have the state codes. Same thing with individual. All of this is state coded, and we do report that to the state so they know how many students we have achieving each of these.
Okay.
Sealed by literacy, sealed civic readiness.
Right.
Arts assessment pathway, CTE. All of that is being reported.
And then with their diplomas, if things are on there, are they automatically added? Yes.
So the bigger question is, do we have a big enough diploma?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of being funny, but
No, I
we
know.
have a relatively small diploma in
Right.
comparison to our neighboring districts. Jackie's amazing. The team in our guidance suite, they make it fit. But we have had some like initial, again, some consolidation, like unintended conversations we didn't know we would have. But as they've changed all the pathways and certifications, we have to consider if we can stay with our traditional.
Okay, that was kind of what I was, I know that it's
You
a
wanna-
silly question,
All
but,
designated on their diplomas.
Yeah.
Right.
We literally go through, we as counselors go through and reflect what each student is receiving between sealed, we work with the staff for
Yep.
sealed letters, all of that. And then we do the sticker system.
Yep.
And they all receive their stickers on their small diplomas. This year, I think will be the last year we'll be able to use those small diplomas.
that was kind of my bigger question.
We've already
Okay.
anticipated, we'll use up what we have, and then we'll shift to the larger diplomas, especially with the anticipated changes from the state, where we may have more of these seals and recognitions to place on the diploma. So we are definitely already
Med school diploma.
Right, because I think we probably all know
Yeah.
kids who have multiple of these, so that was my silly question.
We have a nice connection with Johnson's though, so we'll.
Oh, perfect.
We'll connect with Scott Fitch and start planning on that part of it, because it takes a while for us to design that stuff.
Yeah.
And, we just want to use up what we have.
Thinking about Nora talking about the leadership class, do basically all of the leadership students qualify for the Seal of Civic Readiness? Are
That's a
they
great
are they
question.
like talked
Yeah.
through that and everything?
They were our guinea pigs last year.
That
with
was the slam
program,
dunk.
And
Yeah.
they all did receive the seal of civic readiness and field leadership, because they do all of the requirements for it, yes.
So do the guidance counselors talk to them about that so they know that?
Jackie Sauter actually did a lot of the footwork on that,
With the
going into
social
the
studies teachers, yeah.
leadership classrooms and really took that and ran with it. And so, but I, as the lead counselor, met with Jackie and also disseminated that information to all of the counselors at the high school as well.
A quick question, piggybacking off of what Erica said. So the difference between like the endorsements, it's a series of classes that you have to take. For the seals, like the seal of civic readiness or the biliteracy, is there another component you have to do? Like
Depends on the, like just feeding off of her question.
Yeah.
Most of that was embedded, and Jackie was easily able to sell that as a point of like, you've done all the work.
Okay.
The seal of biliteracy is much different.
That's what I thought.
They have to achieve 3 points on the English side, 3 points on the foreign language side, and I help coordinate that with this seal of literacy,
Mhm.
just making sure to see what pre-points they already have, and then based on that, the Spanish teachers work with the students to guide them, mentor them in completion of all of the requirements for the seal of literacy.
They're actually refining that right now to make it a little bit more accessible, and just comparing with local districts, because we defined that, the seal of biliteracy process, and they're trying to make it even more accessible, because we've had so many kids take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, because they are able to earn points not necessarily in a class. So you can have a student who speaks Arabic
Yeah.
at home and can earn points.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. But there's a performative piece there that's probably the most arduous part of it.
Yes.
I have one more nitpicky question. Last year at one point, we had some students come in public comments and talk about how they wanted a second semester anatomy and physiology class.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you could provide an update on that.
Well, so to the point, we have a process to follow to evaluate that. We actually met with the students afterwards to talk about like where the course was and what was behind the spike in demand. And, you know, like off the top of my head, I can recall like last spring, I had 162 kids sign up for the course. And so it started with some work in the summer. Stacy's well-versed in this. Julie Marshall and Virginia Donahue are the two of the teachers that teach AP and SUPA biology. And they met to discuss the curriculum and to see what was feasible in it because they are expecting some shifts as well. And the outcome of that work in the summertime was to slow down we typically have a 2-year process to expand or change courses or offer new courses, and that they were doing this curriculum work first. Do you want to?
Yes, and I think the plan was to slow down because we're scheduling now 8 and 9 go 12. And so we wanted to see the impact of how that shifts with all of our current courses and where, you know, the sections fall. And then it gives us also time to think about the writing process and creating the course, whether it's going to be a 2-part, part 1, part 2, and be able to extend on. So we've been doing a lot of research in that, but we thought, you know what, it would probably be best to just not hit pause, but continue to plan it out and see how that would look. But at the same time, wait till we do this mass scheduling of 8, 9, go 12, and with all the electives and all the different pieces to see how does that fit. Does it change our section numbers based on what kids are able to sign up for now? So it's kind of like the unknown that we wanted to make sure that we were really smart and planful of how it would roll out, but we are still being responsive to that.
They did do a name change of that course, though, correct?
Yeah, they removed the sport.
The sport piece,
Yeah,
because
they
I think some of the feedback that we heard from the students was it really was about students that are interested in medical pathways
careers, yeah.
and focusing on that aspect of the curriculum.
Mhm.
So again, Julie and Virginia had done some work this summer and had planned to do more work. And again, I hope based on the staffing needs in March, again, like we'll understand if it's like a longer term trend and how do we support it.
One of the things that we did discuss along that was that many students might want it to be a full year course, but other students might want the opportunity to take something different second semester. They might not be headed towards an intense medical field. So we really are kind of leaning towards a semester, 2 semesters, so it offers students flexibility in their choices.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, so just moving along, I won't go through every aspect of this, but this is the timeline that we have set up to align with the scheduling process up here at the high school. It's pretty detailed, right? I know, well, it is.
It's probably a lot more detailed.
We were just talking in the hallway that we have to really kind of get at these conversations in the next couple of department meetings, but.
Because literally we're on Thanksgiving break.
Right.
And the course information meetings, and we start scheduling, actually the teacher course recommendations start in mid-December.
So we're a month away.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's here.
And then Francine will pull out the 27, 28 timeline to talk to me about like how we're going to tweak that, you know?
So if you look at January 6th, we are going to have a captive audience. As the families will come out. This is when we want to continue to get more information about families and students' questions about consolidation, time change, UPK, wrap care. So I know the team is developing a program to make sure that we get quality feedback and they have quality information for planning. So thank you for that.
This will be the first time that Francine leads that conversation, maybe back to your point, Brian, about it being disconnected, you know, coming into 9th grade and then going into 10th grade and really ownership. She will present that evening from her perspective, understanding like all of the responsibilities or the pathways for graduation.
Okay, and then this is a typical ACO 9 ninth grade course selection option. So this kind of just lists what the general courses are that a student would sign up for. There is a little flexibility in the electives as they go up to the high school, obviously being up there with a broader scope of courses, but if you go back to your presentation and you take a look at those pathways, you'll see something very important is that foundational course anyway. So it's super important for our kids to get that foundational art course or tech course so that they can head into those pathways without jumping all over the place.
So just, I think, an important piece, again, 8th graders going to 9th graders, 9th going to 10th grade, how are we getting this information to students and families before January 6th?
The 9th grade counselors are meeting with the students at Minerva DeLand. And then the 8th grade counselors as well go in and do pre-meetings, like an overall elective overview. They see it, we'll have the elective videos for those staff members to use as well to show students what courses they do have to choose from course electives. We do course information meetings as well. The elective teachers talk about and the core teachers talk about all of the courses that they can be choosing. And then January 6th, as I mentioned, that's when scheduling starts, but that's when we will also share that information with our 8th and 9th grade parents. And then I will be doing another presentation for 10th grade parent night that same week on that Thursday, sharing that information with them as well, but we do pre-meetings with them.
So before the winter break, they're going to go home with
They'll have all the information.
and then the videos to watch over with their families and then come back in January.
All of the videos will be done the first week of December for dissemination to be showing to the students ahead of time.
And we push this out through Parent Square, the course guide.
The course guide, yep. So the course guide will be published as well to all the families, so they could look through all of the offerings.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming because, it is a little bit, but it's all there.
Our gift to you.
Yes.
It is, our community.
Which really is, yeah.
Okay. And then this, you guys got ahead of us, but that's okay. So this is the exciting piece is we have purchased school links last year and have been working our way into the integration of that software to our school district. And so the exciting piece of this, when you ask who's keeping track of all of these things in the CTE world and the pathways, we want our students to have more ownership in that. And we also want our students to be thinking from a 9 through 12 perspective instead of just 1 year at a time. So School Links, we've purchased the course planning module, the SEALS, the CTE module, work-based learning module, and the NCAA module. So this is a super intuitive program that kids interface with. It replaced Naviance that we used for so many years. This is our first year entering into the college application process with the kids because last year seniors stayed in Naviance for obvious reasons. And so we're rolling out that college application process. And then this spring, we will be training our students on how to work through the course planning. So they'll be able to sort of go in and select their courses, then meet with their counselor, and then it'll be integrated to School Tool all relatively seamlessly. So they're working on our course guide right now and integrating our entire 26, 27 course guide into the software as we speak. So parents would have access through their student because parent emails change so frequently for different reasons. We don't have individual parent access, but parents can access it through their students, and students will communicate with their parents as well about that. But anything you want to say about the college application process?
We're really thankful to have this new program. It's going extremely, extremely well for the college application process right now. The students, it's very user friendly, and as counselors and as our support staff, we really have found it to be an extremely popular, very resourceful program, platform, and I'm excited to continue to build upon it and use it for the course scheduling process, but as well supporting our staff too that are tracking the seal of biliteracy, seal of civic readiness. It's a big undertaking to do all of that without a platform that facilitates that. So I know we have some directors and some staff members that are super excited as well to use School Links to do that tracking as well.
Just a quick thank you to Deb too. She's been super helpful in the implementation and also listening on the back end, the part that nobody will ever see. Our registrars are going through and clearing out all of the Minerva DeLand codes, which are required to make the, when School Links talks to School Tool, when we use it for class signups next year, we need that to be clean and all those things to be aligned. And so on the back end, Mary and Joanna have been digging through and cleaning out some things, but we have to do that also with a connection to past transcripts and understanding like our students that have gone through in that old system. So it's a lot of like work that no one will ever see, that is really important for the consolidation to take place.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and a fast timeline.
Yes, they're moving right along.
Yeah, she's pushing them right along, so, and listening,
It's all
which
good.
has been great.
Well, we did press pause, so.
We did press pause. So we heard them. We heard them.
We heard them. They're doing a little paper scheduling this year, but next year they will be up and running through the system. So that's all we
Any
got.
questions? I have a comment, and I remember, well, I mean, it's been amazing to see it come together. And from the summer, or actually last spring, when we were, again, doing all the processing and planning of it and putting together the timelines and the, you know, the pillars and blah, blah, blah. This has just been like inspiring to see, and how you guys have it seamlessly put together. And like Bob says, there's things we'll just never know, but thank you for putting the time, and thank you for your leadership and vision and commitment, and, you know, my pain, you know, always asking about it. So thank you for.
I mean, it's what the kids have to do. They have to
Yeah.
sign up for the courses. You gotta get that all set
Right.
up.
It used to be really like, just to thank these guys one more time. They do this every year. And when we've been talking about consolidation, I've been trying to say to Brett for years, like, this is a systems thing. And like, you know, Stace would always be doing a course guide. Deb would always be meeting with counselors. Francine would always be doing this. And they've expanded and been more intentional about the 9th grade coming up. That's been the major difference. But this is work they do all the time, again, behind the scenes, to make sure these things work. So just wanted to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And I think it's so neat that it's so student driven, even that you flex the courses and what's offered based on what the students are interested in. And I know that's a lot of extra work for your side just to be able to accommodate the students. So I appreciate that.
I think too, one thing we didn't mention here too, a lot of the courses that are in these pathways, the CTEs, the SEALs, a lot of those courses too, we're very lucky to have a lot of dual enrollment courses as well with
Yeah.
MCC, GCC,
Mhm.
Oswego, Syracuse. So in Syracuse has implemented, free tuition for liberal arts degree for students that are taking these super courses. And so just encouraging these students, if they achieve a certain grade in those super courses, it's kind of enticing to be able to go to Syracuse for, get in automatic admission into the program if they've done well in those super courses as well. It's another program that Syracuse is. So just lots of perks and pluses to all of these things that we're offering to students to be able to get dual credit, and a lot of colleges are taking that dual credit. So I'm excited because it's just going to be more and more opportunities for our students.
And Francine, I just want to say, as a parent, the counseling newsletter is gold. It is gold. And
If you
because
wonder
don't
if
know
people
what
read
you
it,
don't
yes.
know. And
Survival.
it is literally, I just save it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know when I'm going to need this, but I'm going to need this. Bob, write up with your newsletters. You know, they're together. But what I appreciate about that is because you don't know what you don't know, and I think backing up to middle school, and I think sometimes parents don't know what to advocate for.
Too far away.
It's so far away. We don't know. In 5th grade, we need to be thinking about algebra and geometry and what could my child be, apply for this and that. And with that, I know, Stacy, you drove a lot of the flexibility of compacted math and advanced science. And so I appreciate that greater flexibility because some kids are advanced math, but not advanced science. And some kids are not advanced math, but advanced science. So I appreciate that, looking out for all students in that way. It's really has helped, I think, many students. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, second to the counseling newsletter. That's like my must read, the
Yes.
counseling one. I get lots of newsletters, but that's really
We
helpful.
added the 9th grade to that this year too, with anticipation of them coming. And so even if you are a parent of a 9th grader, to see the 11th, 10th,
Yes.
11th, and 12th grade information and anticipation of what's down the road, like you were saying.
It is very nice to know.
So I'm glad to hear that. So,
Yes, it's very helpful.
Keep writing that.
Yeah,
you're
Just
like, I'm
keep
glad
writing
it's
it.
red.
Sorry, you're not going to stop writing that.
No.
All right, you're welcome.
For spending the
Thank you.
evening with
Yeah.
us.
Okay, so up next for our discussion items is the stadium lights for the multi-purpose field.
We I think appropriately titled this Leveling Up, because we believe that, adding lights to our multi-purpose field would, be a definite advantage for our school community. Not sure where we are here, that whole presentation, but I want to share that There was a community presentation on November 5th at Fairport High School. This 512 was well populated with school members on both sides of the conversation about the multi-purpose field. There will be another meeting tomorrow evening at Joanna Perrin. I believe that's at 5 o'clock to talk with some more community members. And I think the common themes accurately depicted here are potential light and sound pollution, additional parking facility use, and a construction timeline. People are very interested in learning about all those facets, and we look forward to developing some regulations around this if the board continues to give us the approval to move forward, particularly getting our stakeholders together to talk about some regulations that we could put in place that are good for our kids, good for our community, but also fair for the neighbors around Fairport High School. We had a presentation from the lighting company on the advances in lighting technology, and the technology really has advanced significantly with 10 poles around the perimeter of the multi-purpose field. Lights can be operated independently. There's an app that actually can be used, and so it's much more functional to get at as well. If people want to see the actual presentation, it is on our website or our YouTube site at fairport.org. /CIP 2020-23. Again, just opening this up for discussion with the board.
Yeah, so the presentation I thought was really helpful. I learned more about lights than I think I ever thought I would learn.
I do find myself now looking as I drive by other schools. I'm like, what do you? Do you have
What year did you put in your
Musco?
lights?
Yeah.
I appreciated that there, like Brett said, there were folks with all different opinions and feelings. I think the overall feeling was, we want to be a good neighbor for the folks that live near the school. And some of the conversations weren't even about the lights themselves. So I think that kind of was what led to thinking about having some regulations in terms of maybe when things are a little louder at any of our sporting areas, not just the stadium, but the multi-purpose field as well. So I thought it was really helpful. It was great to hear questions from the community, but I also feel like we can work within parameters so that everybody, is as comfortable as possible, while also making sure that, we live here and it is dark at 5 o'clock. So not having access to some really amazing space is hard. And it's not just this time of the year, it's also in the spring, which I guess I kind of forgot about too. So I thought it was helpful. Anybody else I know most of us were at the meeting. I am happy that we have another opportunity tomorrow because I think there probably were.
Missed it.
Yep, some folks couldn't be here. So anyone else?
No, just the conversation, both in the meeting and then afterward, talking with some of the community members who are here and the coaches were here. It was really good. It was really positive, and I think that the openness of both the districts, which I appreciated, and the coaches in the athletics department of being good neighbors to the neighbors who live along there, and kind of realizing the need for some regulations or just that communication piece of when there's a game and that. But the benefits that this will bring to I think our athletics program and our facilities and our student athletes is huge. So I thought it felt to me very positive. It felt very even people who had concerns about it, they were good concerns that I appreciate everyone taking seriously and listening to, and spirit of cooperation, spirit of working together, and kind of keeping what's best for our student athletes in mind.
So I think the only question I've really gotten since we kind of started this whole conversation is, look, we have millions to go on our BCS, right? Like we have huge checklists and huge to-do lists. Why is this the priority? And I think I've shared, we're kind of bound by what the vote was on for how we can spend the capital improvement. But I know Superintendent Provenzano, you've kind of spoken to this too as well a little bit, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're putting together a project, you want to make sure you're maximizing the aid and having no additional cost. That was the board's parameters. And the lights fit that specific qualification. In order to do air conditioning in this building, it would fall way short, right? In order to do a music wing, it would fall way short. We definitely have consulted the BCS, we consulted users, also living in this community and participating in the community. It definitely is a community hope and expectation that we are able to continue to expand and provide the programming. We will not, I could confidently say, have opportunities to add lights at no additional cost in the future. And it was covered. It was part of the seeker and part of the language in the vote. But we never thought we were able to get to it. And the actual bidding environment, we couldn't predict and how it was bid. It was packaged perfectly, and the timing came out in Fairport's favor. And those conditions really opened up the opportunity for us to bring this to the community.
Thank you. Mallory's not here, but I know she definitely wanted to say something, so I'll just speak kind of on her behalf. But she went to the presentation on November 5th, and she was there for the Q&A and everything. And she's also very invested in this because she plays soccer, and often, like she was talking to me, like they don't have lights on the field, and so it's really hard to schedule practice times. Especially like if school's ending later, like it'll only be more difficult in upcoming years. And so I know like she went to the Q&A because she was very interested, and she's spoken with the girls on her team and in other sports, and they're all like very excited, and it will obviously be very beneficial for those sports teams. But also she spoke to like her teammates about like, yeah, like maybe, you know, there's no walk-up music for a couple games, and like that's just something you'll have to live with. Like, so I think there was like a mutual understanding that like if we're getting lights, like some small sacrifices. But I just know that the athletes are very excited about this because it's a small thing like adding lights, but it's gonna make a really big difference to all of them. So I just know Mallory wanted to say that.
That's great to hear. Yeah, my takeaway from the community session was like it reinforced all of the awesome things about this, but then also added a dose of realism. Like we're going to have to be careful about how we do this and be responsible neighbors. And I also learned a lot about lights, and I think this is going to look so good when it's done. Like I think it's going to be a really great project.
You see here a timeline. Mr. Nardone, do you want to take some time going over this one?
Absolutely. So timeline, we cannot submit to SED until after February 12th, so February 13th is the earliest we can submit. Otherwise, it won't be aided because due to maximum cost allowances resetting. My hope was to submit February 14th to speed up the process, but remember, Labella is designing an entire K-8 project right now, so we got to be cognizant of that. Our hope is that we submit to SED in the middle of March. We're anticipating right now SED review is only about 4 to 6 weeks. If it stays like that, we could get approval in May. I'm not hopeful though. So if SED approval is normal, you'll get an approval between July and September of 26. We will bid it, which will take another month or two to bid and award contracts. So now you're at September or November of 26, and then you can award the work. So ideally, this work can potentially be done if I'm trying to make a stretch by the spring of 27, but more realistically, it'll be the fall of 27. But that's my job now to work on it and push people to see if we can get it as quick as we can, but done the right way for our students.
Do we?
Exactly.
Do we lose the field during the construction for the lights?
No, it was said that it wouldn't be lost, but there will be some, I don't want to say sacrifices, but there will be some, maneuvers, kids getting to the field and stuff like that. We'll make sure it's safe. Safety is my top priority when stuff like that happens. But now we go to work with the construction team and the site contractor that will be on site, along with Musco, to make sure that we can continue playing.
Can I ask just a question that came up from a neighbor, is the idea of the sound system? Because I think there seems to be confusion and concern that everybody, like, they're able to see the lighting project and see, wow, this really is not going to add spread or
Yeah.
What does it mean for the sound system? Are like softball games, soccer games, is there a sound system currently?
100%. There is a sound system, and we're going to make sure that it's wired so you could watch the Game Changer live. However, we feel that with the right regulations, as I was speaking to earlier, we can moderate that. And I'm giving a for example. For example, no walk-up music after 8 o'clock. I'm making it up, right? Or no new games, new competitions can start after 9:30. Because if you're playing a game, it can go in to 9:30, 10 o'clock. It depends on what time you start. But we could put some regulations, and we would bring the community in to have them not always necessarily agree, but to understand what we're doing, but also be sensitive to what they need. Definitely, if there's summer teams playing, I don't see why we would need walk-up music if there's summer teams playing.
So right now, we're talking about a lights. We're not talking about an enhanced, brand-new sound system.
No, we are. 100%.
Oh, we are.
We're talking, again, not necessarily an enhanced. I mean, right now, they bring out a speaker, right? So having something there to where we can hook up and use. But again, we can modify it and regulate it so it's not on at all hours of the night. And that will be communicated to the stakeholder groups.
Oh, no, just there was feelings about Michael Jackson as a walk-up song. Wasn't not thrilled.
Not Thriller?
The community was apparently.
Yeah.
I know, it's hard, because I know some of the folks talked about they didn't like having music Saturday mornings.
Yeah. And those are
kids
things we can
aren't-
control.
yeah.
We can control that. We can control that.
Can be good neighbors.
Yep.
Okay. So up next.
Thank you.
Yeah. Up next, we have our 2025-26 special education plan. And I know that we have talked about this in a variety of ways. I know we talked a little bit about it when we met with the special ed department. And Deb, I know you went through and did some updates, I think, right? Oh, it wasn't yours.
So one thing Deb is not in charge of
Oh,
tonight.
gosh.
That's one thing.
No, you know what? Was it? It was
Sarah and Pam.
It was Sarah and Pam. Yes,
Sarah and Pam.
sorry. Yes, it was
Why are you still
Sarah.
here?
I know you're
It's
here,
so
so
nice
I'm
of
gonna
you.
ask you. So no, we talked a little bit about it. The old plan was very, very long and tedious, and it is available for parents and families to look at. And I think the hope was to clean it up a bit and make it a little more user friendly. But also, we wanted to make sure that there was some stakeholder input. So I think our discussion today is kind of about approving the cleaned up version.
I was going to say, if this is a vote item, I think we need a motion and a second before.
No, I don't think, we're just talking about it.
Oh, we're not? Okay. What's wrong? I thought we were too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So do we need to?
Yeah, I guess we do need to fix it then.
The motion to approve. Sarah, yeah, we need to, well,
Well, I can make a motion to amend the agenda to
I was
make
just making
this
sure it wasn't below.
a motion to approve the special education plan. So I'm making a motion to amend the agenda to make this an action item. I need a second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Okay, so you are correct, Brian. Thank you. So I think we were going to talk about it a little bit and then approve what is currently cleaned up, but also with the understanding that more stakeholder involvement in talking about it after the fact for next year when we approve it would happen. Does that make sense?
No. I mean, sort of. So are we approving what is up here? We are going to approve this.
Can I?
so
Correct.
it needs to be annually, it needs to annually be approved. And-
Yes.
And again, just to clarify some of this, it's not necessarily stakeholder feedback because a lot of it is based upon state law. It's basically stakeholder awareness, right? And bringing teams in throughout the year or the summer. We have active parents who are in the know in the community and just
Yeah.
bringing it to them, just so more eyes could be on it. But we wanted to get the plan approved because it's something that I know that the board thinks is important, and it is.
So this is kind of all historically grounded in, last year, Sarah and Pam went to town on our special education policies. They're absolutely exceptional and reworked a lot of our 7600s. And so 7610 sets out the requirements legally for what our special ed plan needs to have. And we had this old one that had been created, but you could tell that it was kind of this document that every time a new law or mandate came out, it was just getting added, and it wasn't kind of the heart of what needed to be there anymore. So they not only took those policies on, they then rolled with it to clean this up so it aligned with 7610 for our policy. So this is the fresh and beautiful.
Okay.
It's so clean and nice.
Yeah. Then I would like to move that we move this for approval.
Second.
And now discussion. Yeah.
All in favor?
Well, do we have any more discussion?
Oh, no, yeah, yeah. I spoke at him.
No, we're good.
It was Brian and Rich. For the motion.
Yeah. And
I think now we're good.
Thank you for the clarity and thank you for the work that was done to streamline the document. It's really, it's useful, it's good, and I think it does what we need it to do.
Right.
And so the understanding is we're gonna approve. We're approving this version, and then there's annual.
It's going to be approved. In our perfect world, it will be approved at the reorg meeting in July.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
That
And then we'll
clarifies
get
it.
into the cycle of it.
Correct.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for that.
Are we sure? We're good?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's confusing. And I probably made it more confusing, so I apologize. Okay, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. Okay, so up next, I need a motion that the Board of Ed approves the attached field trip requests. Lisa?
Second.
Brian? Discussion?
Nora?
I just thought I would share the last field trip request that was approved. It was the field trip I went on today. Today we went to the courts for business and personal law. So I was there this morning, and that was really fun. I actually, well, maybe not fun, but it was very interesting. I really liked going, so yeah, I just thought I would share.
And it looks like you're headed to Northside next month.
That's for you.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, 7-0. Okay, which leads us to our policies. I need a motion to approve the second readings of the policies listed.
So moved.
Mary Caitlin? Nicole? Any clarification? I know it's a second read, so.
Yep, and policy meets this Friday, so that's why we don't have any first reads on this.
How was it that
We
I
would never
was-
drop off. And we also didn't meet in October because we were gone for the conference. But everybody on policy, have your coffee and soda for Friday because we got a to-do list.
All in favor? Aye, 7-0. This we talked about before, but the next thing I need a motion for the Board of Ed to approve the newly revised partial exemption under real estate property law, section 466A for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers is attached. And this is what Jeremy shared information about earlier.
So moved.
Mary Caitlin? Rich? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion that the Board of Ed approves the school tax summary for 2025 as attached. Brian? Second. Lisa? Was it Rich and I couldn't see him?
No, he just kind of
forgot how to talk.
Any discussion or comments here? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the Fairport Central School District Reserve Fund Plan for 2026 as attached.
So moved.
Very Caitlin? Lisa? Discussion here.
So just really quick question. I talked about it with somebody before, but just for a public conversation. So looking at this plan, everything looks great. I appreciate the work that's gone into this, but it looks like there's going to be two proposals potentially on the ballot in 2026 about the reserves. I was wondering if you could just really quick
You're
talk
talking
about
about adding an additional reserve, capital reserve.
Yep.
Because
an additional capital reserve and then the old bus reserve.
right, so Mr. Nardone, you want to develop that?
Absolutely. So yes, our capital reserve has been funded almost to the max. So how capital reserves work, the public allows us to fund it up to a certain dollar amount. That's total funding. So if I fund it, say if the total authorization is 10 million, I fund it 10, I spend 2, I cannot put another 2 in there. It's one time, it's total funding. So we are nearing the end of the life on the old capital reserve. So just to be safe, we're going to ask the public to approve a new capital reserve. The beautiful thing about that is the capital reserve goes dollar for dollar back to the community, whereas the other reserves are more or less a savings account for a rainy day. So it's a good thing that we're creating this reserve. In addition, every year we ask the voters to approve us to expend money out of our bus reserve. We still have 2 remaining bus reserves. We have an old one from 2002 with just over 88,000, so we're going to deplete that and then use some money from our other bus reserve depending on how prices come in. So that.
And because that's state law that requires voter approval out of the bus.
Yes, any capital reserve, which includes your capital for buildings, your capital for buses, and your capital for technology, all require voter authorization to expend from those reserves. Thank you.
Any other, good, okay. All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Okay, which brings us to personnel. So I need a motion to approve the following instructional staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Brian? Nicole? Well,
I mean, I think it's worth noting that we have Bob Clark sitting in the audience and Mr. Pat Crow. Bob's going to be recommended, he's being recommended for the new assistant superintendent for HR. Mr. Loff is retiring effective August of 2026. And Mr. Grow is being recommended to be the Fairport High School principal upon that vacancy from Fairport High School. So they're both here.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Yay. See, I didn't congratulate when I was really
so good.
really worked hard not to get excited beforehand. So congratulations. We're excited. Congratulations. Thanks for sticking with us tonight. Okay. Up next, we need a motion to approve the following non-instructional and civil service staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Brian?
Second.
Mary Caitlin? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. Up next, I need a motion to approve the following athletic staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Lisa? I think Brian? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. It's hard to see today. In case you couldn't tell, I'm like bouncing around. I need a motion to approve the attached teaching assistant tenure appointments as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
Second.
Lisa, Jan, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion to approve the attached memorandums of agreement as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Brian? Second. Nicole? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion to approve the following benefit contracts for personnel not covered by a collective bargaining agreement recommended by the superintendent. Lisa? Jan? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Ed approve the benefit contracts of managerial administrative personnel for the 2026-27 school year as attached. Brian? Lisa? All in favor? Aye. Which brings us to the consent calendar, and I need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Mary Caitlin and Jan. All in favor? 7-0. And I need a motion to enter into executive session for matters pertaining to the information listed below.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 7-0. If you're listening at home, we'll just be reconvening and then adjourning after that. So you will not be missing anything.